This video is a film study focused on Lamar Jackson and his performance in the Ravens' 23-10 win over the Jets in Week 12. Fifth straight win gets the Ravens to 6-5, now tied technically atop the AFC North with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I've got 11 plays here, all pass plays, mind you. Lamar has clearly not been as effective as we would expect him to be in the last 3 weeks, basically since the Miami game when he threw 4 touchdowns. We know he's dealing with a number of injuries. At the same time, that we have less mobility, less danger presented to the defense on scrambles in terms of production. We also have some throws missed by Lamar that he's made historically the past 4, 5, or 6 years. It's pretty easy to figure out what's happening. Number one, I think he's dealing with multiple lower body injuries, the most recent of which is a toe, apparently, that put him on the injury report on Monday. And in addition to that, an extremely inconsistent offensive line, whether we're talking about run blocking or pass pro. Like I said, we've got 11 plays queued up here for you to check out. This first one I'm only going to show from the end zone angle because of the rhythm, getting the ball out quickly. It's a fast motion by Flowers across right to left for us. And then Andrews running a little short concept. He's the number one receiver right now, but as the ball is snapped, basically Andrews and Flowers are kind of even with each other. So who's the number one, who's the number two? And that's all by design, if you ask me. Flowers essentially running the speed out concept, catching it along the left sideline quickly, giving him an opportunity to possibly make somebody miss. In this case, he ends up getting a 7 or 8 yard gain. We want to see more of that, right? We want to see more quick game stuff, get the ball out fast, let Lamar be in point guard mode first, and hopefully get healthy at some point during this season that's been, a season of discontent pretty much on the offensive side, and the defense has turned it around, especially recently. Still on the first possession, it's going to be a flood-ish concept versus zone. This is after a tight end sneak to convert a 4th and 1. So Henry's going to cross Lamar's face. Walker from the backside is running kind of this over route. How many times did we end up in these route situations where it's zone and just no one's open? I think 44 does a great job here, given that Lamar, at least on this snap and lately, seems averse to scrambling. I mean, there's definitely an opportunity to go downhill and get more yards. So from the standpoint of the matchup that was on the field today, really nice job by 44, possibly getting in the window of any attempt by Lamar to throw it to Walker. I'm talking about if 44 was to press now and go at Lamar, possibly an opportunity for Walker to kind of sit this route down in the middle of the field, or Lamar to throw it behind him like he often does to protect his receivers. A lot of examples of guys running routes that sometimes look like a man-type reaction, but we're actually facing zone. Credit to the Jets, man. They dropped out in zone, particularly cover 2, often, especially in the first half, and we look surprised by it, just really unable to generate open throws for Lamar. This is an interesting play on 3rd and 3 because of, first of all, where Lamar puts the football. Second of all the discussion that's occurred about it. One of my patented sayings is it's not that simple. So it's a 3rd and 3, incomplete to Andrews on kind of this over route. This is a concept that we've been using for a long time. I'm not a huge fan of the way we're doing this with Hopkins. He's basically setting a screen, a pick, if you will, on the inside linebacker, such that the running back, Justice Hill in this case, sometimes Keaton Mitchell previously, can run a wheel. Well, the problem here is they're not in man, and it's not that simple as terms of man or zone. Oh, you should sit the route down versus zone. No, when we normally run this concept with a snag concept and a wheel, Andrews is running across the field. It's been that way since 2021, guys. Oftentimes you'll get zone to the field, which is where Andrews lined up, and man to the boundary. That, in my opinion, is what this concept is designed to attack. Basically, now, nobody's open. Neither of these two guys is open, first of all. But it's a cover 2 zone by the Jets. So credit to them, again, for dropping out here into the boundary as well, getting Stevens off with depth to take over this wheel. Basically, him and the inside linebacker have switched this in a zone perspective. They're just playing their zones and dropping off. Now, Lamar throws it. It ends up being behind Andrews. There's a lot to say about it, and I've seen a lot of reactions. One thing I will say is if Lamar throws it about a foot to his left, yeah, he gives Andrews an opportunity to catch the football. Harrison Phillips also gets a hand on the ball. I don't mean he actually gets a hand on the ball right now. I'm saying if Lamar puts the ball in a situation for Andrews to catch it. Do I think this throw is behind Andrews a little bit? Yes. Do I think that Andrews should sit it down? No. That's not the concept, and that's not the read that we utilize on what I would call a snag flat with an over route from the other side. Lamar's checking the boundary side safety. You guys can't see him, but his feet are up here. I think he's just confirming, what he's got in terms of cover two. The ball is definitely behind Andrews. Just don't make excuses about it. But if it's not behind Andrews, then Harrison Phillips is going to tip the football. I actually thought this was tipped live. I've probably watched it 15 times at this point and tried to convince myself that it's not. I guess there's just too much space between Phillips' hand and the football, but it certainly comes out of here weird. This is a throw that Lamar has hit dozens of times with Mark Andrews. It just so happens in this case, we're not able to make the connection. Moving forward to the second possession, another 3rd and 3, in fact, and we go mesh here versus zone. Now, it's a little bit of a mesh variation. So I'm talking about this route by Isaiah Likely. Mesh typically involves, 2 drag routes, underneath routes, one high side, one low side. In this case, I actually wonder if we're calling this route, calling this play to attack a cover 2. And if we are, it just takes too long for Likely's route to climb over top of the corner to the field. I'm talking about this corner here, who kind of punches Hopkins and then communicates to the inside guys, hey, you've got a drag underneath. Likely's route is just taking too long to develop over the top of this, number one. Number two, there's nothing to hold this safety at all and basically prohibit him from helping out with Likely's route. You got a cover 2, again, if you ask me. Justice Hill down in the flats. Lamar clearly looking to the side, probably because of the deeper route that's being run by Flowers. I think it's a deep out. In any case, he scrambles around to his right. The only thing that we've got any chance of at all is, possibly throwing the ball to Likely, deeper over top of the corner, but away from the safety towards the sideline. Lamar tries to do that, but actually kind of brings Likely back against the grain. I think Lamar's trying to throw the football back on this inside. I don't think he's trying to throw the football down here to the 40 on the outside by the sideline and ends up bringing Likely back. Now, that one does flutter and come out of his hand, a little bit wrong. Is Likely reading it and it's supposed to be mesh like this? It's possible that he then, breaks that route off a little bit more vertical because he sees cover 2. That would make sense over the context of the game, but we're still on the second possession. What I mean is how often the Jets were playing cover 2. Maybe we were more prepared for it than I suspect and than many others suspect, but it seemed to catch us off guard, in my opinion. Third possession here, this one's going to be incomplete to Likely. Obviously, it's a miss. I think Likely's trying to put the football, Lamar is trying to put the football away from the defender completely to give Likely the chance to catch it. The corner will get off here. So, the corner will get depth with a vertical stem by Hopkins to the downside of our screen. And that's obviously where Lamar is looking the whole time. And then when he goes to throw this football, it's sidearm. I think he's trying to get the ball away from this defender, the inside linebacker, which is fine. Ball is just too far in this direction. Clearly, it's a miss. We did gain a first down on a hold by the rookie Thomas, the outside corner from Florida State. Eventually faced another 3rd and 7, and this time the Jets go with man free. So I'll give you the end zone angle first so you can see where the pressure comes from. I think it's McDonald over here, 9, tries a spin move multiple times off the right side. Didn't really seem to work that often against Ronnie Stanley. Standard rushes over here off of our right side for the offensive line, and then this guy I think gets a win against Voorhees. All they're doing is the same thing many teams do. We also occupy the center ourselves on defense, meaning we occupy the center with an inside linebacker and create one-on-one opportunities for as many of their pass rush guys as possible. Just smart usage of your personnel, and then 56 kind of drops out here, ends up playing a little bit of a spy. The running back, Justice Hill, chips and kind of forces that spin to not be as productive or as quick as possible. 91 ends up being able to snatch from Voorhees, pull him down, and get the sack. It's a pretty good football player, to be honest with you. He gave us trouble often on the interior on Sunday. think we've got a 20-yard completion to Flowers here. It's on the 4th possession into the second quarter. So it's a 2nd and 6, 21 personnel, and we go with our fake hitch. Some people call it a smoke screen out here, and then it looks like a draw. Got these weird lines here to illustrate what Lamar does post-snap. We oftentimes, and we've been running this since the Greg Roman times, it's really predictable in terms of the backfield setup. But in any case, we fake the screen, fake the draw, and then one-on-one Flowers against Stevens. I thought he had 3 really nice wins in this game, particularly when Stevens was in off coverage. First of all, it's a 4-man rush scheme, so Lamar's got a platform. Yes, that's what we want. We want as good a protection as possible. Some would say, well, that's unrealistic on every snap. Fine, okay, no problem. But that's still what we want. We still want to give our guy, Lamar, the best opportunity to have a clean throwing platform, step into throws, and if so, we can make throws like this one. You got the inside, this is a safety who had dropped down, and he came downhill and then reversed course, and now he's trying to get underneath of this route by Zay Flowers. So Lamar's throwing it on this side of Zay. This is the one that Zay catches and then changes direction like 2 or 3 times. Like I said, I believe it's a 20-yard gain. I like the concept. I like the attacking nature of it, being as it's down the field. Sometimes I wonder, okay, what would this look like if the other team, brought 5? We do have, Ricard open out in the flats. It seems like it's not a Lamar thing to me. It's not only a Lamar thing to me when teams bring pressure, that it really disrupts or changes the dynamic. Increasingly, when I look at our team, I see, teams like the Browns could give us extreme trouble, especially on the interior, by just rushing 4. But so many other teams, when they want to get pressure and disrupt our flow, they're just going to bring 5 or even 6. Still on that fourth possession, pretty much have a repeat of the same breakdown that I gave you a little bit ago. It's a mesh variation once again versus zone. The only difference is this time it's Andrews running this route, and I think we've got Flowers. We're anticipating possibly a cover 2. He's kind of running like a wheel fade release up to the top side of our screen. Hopkins is going to sit his route down in the middle of the field. So many people are like, oh, you just sit your routes down versus zone. Well, he's still not open. So it's not a one-size-fits-all type of deal, to be honest with you. We got to be, I think, a little more prepared for the specific looks that defenses will give us. It's a too-high safety structure. I would say it's cover 2. Lamar looking to the top side. Andrews' route is not designed to sit down here in the middle of the field. That's why he's not doing that. His route is designed to climb all the way over top of this corner, which seems really far-fetched to me to be able to get time here. And the reason why I say that is because Henry's release is going over their middle as well. So you're telling me that Hopkins has the ability to sit his route down. Henry is running his route, releasing to the right, and you're saying that you've got a route here by Andrews that you think he should sit down in zone and create all that congestion. No, some routes are hard-coded. Some routes have the option to read it on the run. In this case, it ends up being another zone drop by the Jets that causes us problems with the routes that we had chosen to deploy, and we settle for a field goal. We're down 7-3 at the half. Just a gruesome level of offensive football. I think we had 72 yards through 30 minutes. I'm only going to give you 2 or 3 more plays, to be honest with you. Really pressed for time as I record this morning. My family and I are traveling for the Thanksgiving holiday. We're now into the third quarter. Of course, we know the offense did come alive. Some of it was the run game. Some of it was getting big plays down the field, one of which was a pass interference. So this is a great throw by Lamar. I think this is one of the things we should try to do more often and try to emphasize in this offense, whether it's 21 personnel like you've got here, Ricard moving all the way across the back of the offensive line, Andrews staying into pass block, play action to Henry. It just gets Lamar, number one, in a great position. But the unfortunate thing with this team, this offense, this offensive line this season, even when we do stuff like this, we've got guys getting beat. In this case, Linderbaum has allowed Phillips to kind of split between him and Filele. Man, if you don't know about Harrison Phillips, he's a badass football player. So it doesn't surprise me that him and 91 and others gave us troubles. But in any case, Lamar is looking for Flowers along the left side. Everything is right here. Flowers gets a really nice clean win from a route standpoint against Stevens, and we drop the football. To focus on the positive for a moment, when we get, this is one of the times where for Lamar, getting his lower half in position, it still doesn't look like there's as much torque here to me in Lamar's lower body, and the ball kind of seems to be dipping. it seems to me to be a guy who, at the same time that he's got less explosive athletic ability when he tries to scramble, he's also not able to get as much on his throws. He's essentially looks like a guy who used to throw 95, 96, 97, and is now only throwing 91. Flowers with an outside release against Brandon Stephens. Again, it's a play action, so Lamar's going to kick back here and set up. There is a little bit of an opportunity for pressure from Harrison Phillips. And then we're breaking this route to the outside from a Zay Flowers standpoint. Clean win, if you ask me, to give a lot of space for Lamar to get this ball out there. When I talk about Lamar throwing 91 instead of 97, I feel like this ball could be there an eighth of a second earlier if Lamar's got his fastball. It didn't matter because Zay Flowers dropped it anyway. Still in that sixth possession, this is, of course, going to be the pass interference that's called down the field on a pass that's intended for Mark Andrews. I think it's the right call. I mean, there's interference on the coverage. There's also interference at the catch point. So this is a 3+1 spy. We first started seeing this. We can thank the Detroit Lions and Kelvin Shepard for this. Another spin move by 9. I think that's McDonald against Ronnie Stanley. And then a chip kind of helps out Rosengarten on the right side, but he doesn't take advantage of it because Johnson's still able to win here with a chop from the outside. We've got a good pocket otherwise. I mean, it's a 3-man rush, right? We should have a good pocket. If we're chipping with Andrews against a 3-man rush. But Rosengarten loses here. Johnson is, aiming for Lamar's deep drop, flushes him up forward. One of the few moments where Lamar is, able to kind of demonstrate some of his magic or his athleticism. There's the spy, mind you. He fell down, kind of collided with a teammate. This is the throw I was talking about in the reaction video where I said, I'm not sure if we even attempt this throw if the angle is not such that Lamar's throwing it straight down the field, meaning Lamar has moved outside the bottom of the numbers, and Andrews is outside the bottom of the numbers, closer to the sideline, of course. I'm not sure if we throw this ball, we even attempt it, if we're throwing from the pocket. I don't know what that dynamic is to me, but we were fortunate here to get a pass interference. Good decision by Lamar. We've seen so many quarterbacks over the years against us just kind of throw the football up on 3rd and long, and in this case, we were the beneficiary. It's a clear, to me, live speed. It was obvious it's a pass interference. It doesn't look as bad on the All-22, which I didn't show you here. Still, to me, I think should have been called. Finally, the last play that I'll show you, because, again, I'm a little bit pressed for time, and I'll give you some of my evaluative thoughts at the end. This is a 6th possession still, 3rd and 3. Of course, it's going to be the completion to Hopkins over the middle. So the Jets are showing us, hey, we're playing man. They're locked up where they're lined up. All of these guys here. Brandon Stephens up top on Tez Walker. I think we've got a pretty clean loss here by the right guard, number 1. Number 2, another situation where Johnson is getting around the edge on Rosengarten. The only thing is Lamar's Johnson's aiming point isn't as far back because Lamar hasn't dropped back as far to the depth that he often does. Hopefully I said that in a way that makes sense. So Falele losing, more directly short here to the D tackle. Johnson winning to the top side. But thankfully for us, Lamar's getting rid of the ball quickly over the middle to Hopkins. This is a great throw in my opinion. Getting the ball out underneath and away from the defender. So putting it down here as much as he can. So the defender has no chance to get it. Why? Because of the large catch radius that DeAndre Hopkins has. I'd like to see him get more targets, but the more times that we drop back to throw the ball, the more opportunities that we have, for Lamar to get hit, and he's already dealing with, so many injuries. The latest one is apparently a toe. So this guy's a spy here. It's a 4-man rush. We've got issues, obviously, we know that, with pass protection off the right side. It's not just Falele, it's Rosengarten too. The whole conversation with Johnson, on Twitter, who cares to me? Rosengarten's not playing well, in my opinion. This is the aiming point where Lamar would normally be. To me, this is a win for Johnson. Obviously, it's a win for the defensive tackle. Lamar's got poise and understands the situation. We need points. We need conversion. And he goes to Hopkins and gets it. I'm glad we've got this guy. I know that the numbers aren't overwhelming in terms of total output, but he's a guy who can make plays in critical situations. We needed that one, man. It's 3rd and 3. We're down 7-3 in the third quarter. Defensive tackle is on rushing. I'll give you one more. This is actually a concept I'd like to see a whole lot more of. Very similar to the play action that Flowers dropped early in the third quarter. It's 21 personnel and it's play action complete to Henry. Really a flood concept, whatever you want to refer to it as down here. You got 3 receivers on one side of the field post-snap. Actually, I guess kind of like 4, because Ricard brings his route back down here as well, but it really works out nicely. Ricard ends up blocking for Henry after the catch. I think you got cover 3, so the corners are getting depth here. The top side corner was lined up in press man, and then he's getting depth. So it's very possible that you've got a man structure on the backside within cover 3. Just a solo Louis, man, whatever you want to call it, on the backside of a zone. In any case, Lamar's looking to the bottom side of our screen where Flowers and Andrews are, quickly decides he wants to get the ball out to someone else. In this case, it's Derrick Henry underneath. I'd love to see more of this, whether it's Henry, Mitchell, who did, of course, drop a screen last week that led to an interception, or Justice Hill. Just get the football out and get the ball in the hands of other playmakers so that Lamar isn't taking as many hits as he has so far this year. Certainly not the most impressive day for Lamar Jackson. I gave you, 2 throws that I think he missed, the one to Andrews that people have discussed a lot on social media, and the one out in the right flats to Likely. I think he missed a couple of opportunities to get guys the ball. Having said that, man, a really confusing a lot of calls. The number of times where we're running mesh variations against their zones is surprising. I feel like we're very slow to change. I've said this before. I compare our organization to like the tree ants. And at times, in some games recently, Monken has become more conservative, and it's worked out in our favor because the defense is playing well. All right, at this point, we're holding people to, I think it's just over 14 points per game in the last 6 weeks. The Jets are clearly not a very good football team, so take that for whatever you want. I will say this. Leading up to the Bengals game, this might be just what we need. Lamar still can play the game at an extremely high level. I think anyone who doesn't believe that is out of their minds. He didn't forget how to make some of these throws. His lower half, to me, looks compromised at times. Against Cincinnati, what are they going to do? Sell out to stop Henry, which is what some teams' strategy has been. They have an inability to cover and get to the quarterback at the same time. I think Trey Hendrickson is out. They really don't have many answers unless we come out there with a very poor game plan and can't execute at all. I don't think the problem is Lamar Jackson here globally. That's just not where I am at all. Some missed throws at times, sure, and I'm willing to point it out to you. I recognize some people probably don't like hearing that. He's my favorite player, but if I'm not being intellectually honest with you, just don't listen to the content that I put out here, because if people aren't being honest, then it's just a bunch of bullshit. I think the larger point here is the offensive line inability to execute basic schemes has made it to where, A, Monken can't call some of the things he wants to, and when he does kind of move in that direction, some of those deeper routes that I talked about, basically the mesh variation where Likely or Andrews trying to get over top of that corner, we don't have time to get that out. We don't, and number two, I should say, I don't think it's very well designed because there's nothing to hold the safety and prevent him from getting involved as well. In any case, this is my breakdown of Lamar Jackson for Week 12. It's going to be a short week. I'll cover the game on Thanksgiving Day, obviously, and do a reaction video. You guys are more than welcome to let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section, yay or nay, agreement or disagreement with some of the things I talked about here. If you think other Ravens fans would enjoy this film study look at Lamar Jackson leading into the Week 13 matchup against the Bengals at home on Thanksgiving Day, then please consider grabbing a link to this video, sharing it out on social media to help this content get more reach.